All right, guys, I want to show you a little pin and pull action out of 13-man personnel and the way that Moro Ojomo just absolutely destroys this play. You think Moro Ojomo is not an ascending player in this league? Watch this clip and tell me how wrong you were about what you just thought. Let me get to it. I'm going to show you specifics, guys. All right. So down here, what you're going to see in my illustration, guys, very simply put, is they're on about the 31-yard line, okay? And what you got here is you have the boundaries going to be to your left. All right, your boundaries to your left. Field side is to your right. And initially, if you look at the 13 personnel, you got one tight end aligned to your left towards the boundary. You have two tight ends aligned towards the right, which is your field side. Those two tight ends are Travis Kelce is the inside tight end. The outside tight end is being Noah Gray. And then from the Eagles alignment, guys, if you pay attention, you got essentially an overfront. Moro Ojomo's towards basically the weak side aligned as a 2-eye. You got Jalen Carter's line as a 3 technique to the strong side of formation. You got Coop kind of coming in playing the C gap. You got Bond in there covering out one of the A gaps. You got Campbell covering one of the B gaps himself. And you got Blank coming down to cover a C gap. Dory is outside on one side. Q's outside on the other. Makuba's your deep man. He's just the fill guy in terms of the run game. All right. Pat Mahomes is under center. They got the running back, honestly, 7 yards deep. I thought it was 6.5 at first, but he's legitimately 7 yards deep. All right. When you roll this play, the first thing you're going to notice, guys, and I'm going to illustrate it for you here, is Noah Gray. This tight end is going to come into motion, okay? And he's going to line into a quasi-sniffer, meaning between the left guard and left tackle, and then also a little bit kind of like a weird combination of a split flow, right, where you're just coming out and then you're just kicking out this basically this defender out here, essentially. So he's coming to take out Uche, essentially, right? Then what you're going to have is you're going to have your left tackle and your left guard working a combo block, okay? To Moro Ojomo, all right? And then your pin and pull is your right guard. He's going to come out this way, and he's going to pull through, and he's going to kick in here, right? Moro Ojomo has got to win this rep. This whole thing depends upon Moro Ojomo putting people in their place, on their keister, on their backside. This is pin and pull, right? Our center's going to kick out towards JC, all right? We're going to pull our right guard through. I want you to watch what Moro Ojomo does to this play, guys, because, there's only so many ways to describe him being put on your ass. And my man was on one leg when he put the left guard on his ass. I mean, I don't know what people see who try to criticize Moro Ojomo. The only sense that I can make out of it when people are legitimately showing you plays like this, you just don't know the player. You're in your own world, you're watching your own team, and you just don't know how good of a player this dude is. That's a rotational third piece of the kind of interior defensive line rotation, right? I don't think people understand that, like, you can make the argument he's not as twitchy, he's not as twitched up as, kind of like previous players we've had playing on that, this kind of, weak side of the formation in terms of being an interior defensive lineman and kind of like what they can do. I mean, if you go back to the Javon Hargraves and just how twitched up Javon Hargrave was into Milton Williams, Ojomo's not a bad athlete himself. But what I think he has that those two guys don't have is tremendous arm reach. And you can see it play out on tape where he's just basically, these guys are trying to displace him. They have to displace Ojomo for this right guard to come through and pull through and pick up Campbell. Yeah, Ojomo says not today. That shit's not happening today, my guy. This dude is so underrated in the league, guys. As I'm standing here just kind of watching film, right? Sitting here, I guess, be a better way of saying that, guys. Watching the tape of Moro Ojomo. If there's one guy that I believe that with increased play, right, increased production from Jalen Carter kind of going off, and then now that we've gained the semblance of trust, we know what we can get out of a Jordan Davis. We know how effective he can be. If I could think of one guy who's going to benefit like extremely from this, it's Ojomo, because I'm telling you, this guy is ascending. I mean, you can make the arguments that when he kind of gets sacks, those 6 sacks, it's more so that he's in the right place at the right time, which in itself is a skill set, because it means you're doing what the coaching staff asks of you and you're reaping the benefits, because where you're being where you're supposed to be is walking you into those sacks. I do think sometimes that narrative gets lost. I mean, yes, there's not a ton of him just like beating dudes off the line of scrimmage, getting to the sacks. There are some moments of his tape when you watch his film, guys, you can clearly see that he's winning reps there. And he does have the ability. There's more twitch to his game than I think a lot of people realize. I do think that Moro Ojomo is, in terms of the average across the board of defensive tackles, I do think he's a little bit more twitched up than what the average is in terms of like interior D linemen. Now, I don't think he's Javon Hargrave. I don't think he's Milton Williams in terms of the twitch and the athleticism, but he's above that average standard, to be quite honest. And I think this is a young man that the rest of the league may not be as familiar with him. They may not know what this player is. But I got to tell you, if he hits free agency, and I pray that the Eagles find a way, and I don't know, guys. I mean, ultimately, financial decisions have to be made. But I do pray that they find a way of getting Jalen Carter under contract, with Jordan Davis being already under contract, with finding a way to keep Moro Ojomo happy and under contract themselves. Because if not, then I think you're kind of searching for that third piece. Like Robinson has to develop into it, or you got to come up with a favorable contract, in terms of like what you've got on your roster already. Or you're going to have to draft it. You're going to have to find it once again from the draft. And I know you can say, well, they've been successful. I mean, they found Milton Williams after they signed Javon Hargrave in free agency. And then they found Moro Ojomo after Milton Williams. So the Eagles have been pretty damn good at it. But I'm like, yeah, but you also can't, the vanilla gorilla has not lived up to the hype yet. I mean, maybe he does. Maybe it's already on the roster and we just need the expanded role and he's got to prove it this year. I mean, sure, that's that is a potential possibility. But with that said, like, if they can get a Ojomo under contract, guys, hell yeah, I want this guy under contract. This dude is an absolute player along the D-line. And he's like the perfect fit. He's the perfect type of player to play that third role because he can play as a 2-eye. He can play as a 3 technique. He can play as a 5. The Philadelphia Eagles have a unique way of playing their defensive linemen, and it's because of the talent on the team. They're able to go into this kind of like quasi like 3 interior D lineman look to where it's a 50 front, but they'll take one of their actual overhangs, and they'll do this Vic Fangio thing to where they'll play in base, that 52 kind of base they like to play in, and they'll essentially, basically kick one of their edge defenders out to cover the flats, and he'll be detached from the actual defensive line. And they get away with it, and they're pretty damn good at it. And if you look at the personnel helps you play this shit. Having guys like Coop coming from the secondary as a safety, being able to cover the slot, essentially in the base, it helps you do that, right? Having, essentially Reek on the opposite side of Q, being able to lock things down, helps you do that. Having a guy like Jahad Campbell with the athleticism, the ability to cover immense amounts of ground and be damn sticky in coverage, that helps you do it. It's everybody together. And it helps the Eagles get into these kind of funky looks, man. You'll see them play some 3-man fronts just with their defensive linemen because those 3 guys are really good football players. And they really got a 4th guy in this rotation that's pretty damn good too. And we got a 5th guy that, if he develops, it's going to be interesting. I do think the Eagles are particularly deep at the interior defensive line position. It's probably our most deepest spot on the entire roster, if I'm going to be honest. I think linebacker is close because I do think Smile Munden's a really good 4th linebacker. I think Trotter is a damn good 3rd linebacker. So I definitely think you can make some nuanced arguments that linebacker, interior defensive line. I don't know if we have this super jacked up, twitchy, crazy sack production from the edge position, but I know we got 5 guys who can play football at a high level. So even the edge position, I do think is impressive. That entire defense, in my opinion, with Jonathan Jones now as your main backup outside, corner. I mean, I think even the secondary is pretty good, minus the question marks we have at safety. That secondary safety position. Yes, I mean, there's some question marks there. But with that said, when I look at what the Eagles can do, it's not surprising to me that we're hearing, Vic Fangio make statements or players make statements about Vic Fangio kind of yo, this dude's he's drawing some stuff up. It's going to be a little different, man. He's going to take a little bit more gambles. He's going to take some more chances. It's because this is a crazy level of talent. This team is stacked. I think people are really down on Jahad Campbell, and you shouldn't be. I didn't like losing to Kobe Dean either, guys. I mean, we were all Nakobe Dean fans. Do you guys remember how much shit I took when I wouldn't budge on the Nakobe Dean take? When I kept trying to tell people that, look, man, this dude is a fucking football player. I took shit for that until he caught up. Until everyone's opinions caught up with what I was showing them on tape. I took a lot of crap for that, guys. There's a lot of videos, if you look here, that some of my most highly viewed videos are about Nakobe Dean. I was on an island for a little while, guys, with only a few other people having my back. It wasn't, I think people forget, not everybody was high on the Kobe Dean initially. A lot of people were really down after his rookie season. Some of us were really on that island trying to fight this crap off. I feel the same way about Jahad Campbell. I think this dude is way better than the average person understands. I think when you look at a guy like Moro Ojomo, I think people inside the city, I think most of us know what Moro Ojomo is, how good of a player he is. I'm pretty sure executives around the league and scouts around the league, they know what Moro Ojomo is. I don't know the average football fan does. That's the one where I'm like, I don't think the average football fan understands that this dude is pretty damn good. And like with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Moro Ojomo, like this team is stacked in the interior defensive line. This is a damn good football team. If I were to make a prediction, my prediction would be Moro Ojomo is going to be this ascending player that's going to show this season. I think that I would not be shocked if this guy doesn't end up with like 8.5 sacks. I wouldn't be shocked if this guy doesn't have a crazy production number in terms of tackles for loss in the backfield. Just because I think that having a fresh rotation of these, interior D linemen and the fact that the Eagles do like to play all three of these guys quite a bit. They'll play them out of nickel. That was a nickel. That was nickel I showed you there. They'll play these guys out of nickel. They'll play these guys in these funky 52 looks that are kind of their weird quasi-base, right? They will play them in stack. Stack basically means where you take essentially your 3 technique and you take your nose technique, and those two guys are playing on the same side of the field, which creates a stack. Now, there is a zero stack. A zero stack just means that you have a nose tackle over the center, guys, directly over the center in a zero tech, and you have 2 edge defenders essentially playing like 4 eyes or even 5 tech. I mean, that's a stack, if you will. And then you got 3 linebackers behind them inside the stack. The Eagles will do that. They'll play a stacked front with these guys. I'm excited, man. I definitely think that Moro Ojomo is one of those names that by the end of the year, the average NFL fan, I'm not accusing our community, guys. We know what this dude is. I knew what this dude was coming out of college. My most viewed video on my entire channel is when I told people that Moro Ojomo was a freaking steal of the draft. I told everybody coming out like, yo, this dude is absolutely the steal of the 2023 NFL draft. Getting this guy in the 7th round was highway robbery. Alley robbery, if you will. That shit was insane to me that he lasted until the 7th round. And it just goes to show you, like, just how wrong even guys scouts, and I respect the hell out of all these scouts, guys. These scouts put a lot of time and effort into stuff. But it's crazy that even guys like this that are so knowledgeable about football can miss so badly on a player like Moro Ojomo. This guy had no business being around on day 3, period. I mean, I could have understood if he went in the 4th round, early day 3. But man, I mean, I was looking at his tape going, I don't know what people are missing here. This guy, I mean, he's a tremendous football player. This dude has some crazy upside here. Man, like, I'm really excited. We haven't even got into, UR Bernard and what UR Bernard could become for this Philadelphia Eagles team if the development matches the athleticism. That's something that we don't know yet, guys, right? We're hoping to get that kind of Jordan Mailata crazy story over the next 2 or 3 years with UR Bernard. I don't know if we're going to get it, but I do know that that's another athletic freak in terms of the interior defensive line. This team, I mean, it's just like one after another they're finding these guys. And they deserve a shit ton of credit, man. Because even when they went and got Milton Williams, the player that they were gambling on, the player that they were trying to get would have been a hit too. They would have hit on that pick. And their plan B was Milton Williams. And then they came around and basically followed that up by basically pulling out a guy in the 7th round in Moro Ojomo. It's just unfair what this team has been able to do. The Vanilla Gorilla, little concern there, guys. I don't know if they're going to hit on that pick or not. My concern isn't that, like, oh, he didn't shine in his rookie season. It's the fact that he is an older prospect. That makes me a little concerned when you're an older prospect and it's seeming like you have more of a development than what maybe people were anticipating. You should have kind of come in a little bit more like game strength, game ready, if you will. But I mean, look, it's 2nd year. He could definitely prove otherwise. He could definitely prove to be that, rotational piece later on. He's got time to kind of develop into that. There's not a huge rush here just because we are so damn deep. But with that said, guys, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think, guys? What are your predictions this season for Moro Ojomo? I think this dude's going to turn heads in terms of like the win rates. I think he's going to turn heads in terms of the tackles for loss. I think he's going to turn heads in terms of like what he does from a sack production standpoint. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see him replicate another 6-sack season. I also wouldn't be shocked if we don't see him start climbing up towards like 7.5, 8, 8.5 sacks, to where it becomes a big discussion around what you do when it comes to this particular player in the contract. Because, man, I believe in this talent a lot, man. I think this is a very underrated player in terms of the NFL right now. All right, y'all. If you guys want more videos like this, you want to learn a little bit more from a tape perspective, you want someone to actually show you the tape or kind of talk a little bit more in depth about the analytics and stuff behind a player, I'll throw you up a couple of videos, guys. I would definitely check this video out right here. This video is going to go in depth about kind of like one of these, we're going to go in depth about splash players that we're taking big gambles on here. And, what I think the outcome may or may not be based upon what I'm seeing from an analytics or tape standpoint. And then over here, guys, I'll throw you something up that's a little bit more specific to the scheme. We'll talk a little bit about what I'm expecting from the scheme for this season. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention, guys, and I'll see y'all on the next video.